Morning, everybody. Do you have a favorite ride at the amusement park? Well, everybody loves a good roller coaster. At least most people do. And one of the more famous ones was the Cyclone at Coney Island in New York City, and it opened on this date, June 26, in 1927. Many think that the inspiration for the modern roller coaster goes back to 17th century Russia, where the Russians would pour water on a ramp, it would freeze, and down they'd go. This is 1817. It's in France. You can see train track with a drop and kind of looks like a roller coaster. But this is a big part of the roller coaster story. It's a coal train in Pennsylvania, and the people in the area liked riding down this train track, and they actually paid for it. And this became a huge attraction, almost as popular as going to Niagara Falls. And this inspired Lamarcus Thompson to cook up the Switchback Railway. And here it is. It's at Coney Island in New York. And you basically would ride from one end to the other and then turn around and go back. And people thought that was really cool. This is the Loop-de-Loop. It's also at Coney Island. It didn't last very long. Here's a photo of it from 1903. It was quite dangerous, and not many people could ride it once, but you can see it looks kind of like a roller coaster. So here's our event. June 26, 1927, the Cyclone opened at Coney Island. Has that sort of classic look of a roller coaster. And the fact that it was at Coney meant it was going to be really popular. So here's an aerial view of Coney Island. At its heyday, it had 3 amusement parks adjacent to each other, spread out along Surf Avenue. And on a weekend in the summer before World War I, you might get 1 million people at Coney Island. And the whole idea of amusement park was really an urban thing. And then after World War II, Disney cooked up Disneyland out in the suburbs. And here's a picture of the Matterhorn bobsled, a ride at Disneyland, 1959. Notice the fake Matterhorn in the background. But the bobsled as a type of ride became quite popular. So there are lots of types of roller coasters. So the bobsled is one type. And then another type is the dive roller coaster, where the idea is, drop like crazy. Another category of roller coaster is the floorless. There's a whole subculture of how people divvy up roller coasters. Another category is the flying roller coaster. And then another category is the inverted roller coaster. And there are other categories too. One way to measure roller coasters is by the drop. So this is the ride called the Fury in North Carolina. It has a drop of 320 feet. And I think the record drop is at Six Flags, New Jersey, where you drop 456 feet. So hang on to your hat for that one. Another way to measure roller coasters is how long they are, and the longest currently is the Steel Dragon in Japan, over 1 mile long. And I guess there's another one being built that's going to be longer. Now there are movies with roller coasters in them. There's actually a movie called Roller Coaster, 1977, in which there's a terrorist attack on an amusement park. Roller coaster has a role in the story. Perhaps you remember the 1983 movie National Lampoon's Vacation. You might recall the group on the roller coaster, and of course everybody reacts differently. Now the Cyclone is still there. It's still at Coney Island. And its structure of wood and steel is considered, I think, classic by people who study these things. Coney itself is a viable amusement park. You can get there by the subway. It doesn't get 1 million people on weekends like it used to. And it's still kind of fun. Not much left of those original 3 parks. The oldest operating roller coaster is in Altoona, Pennsylvania, built in 1902, called Leap the Dips. No seat belts, no lap bars, no headrests, but lots of fun.